people!
After the race, I had the opportunity to spend some time with my main competitor, and we discussed the events of the day. And from that came the title of this video. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. During this race, I'm going to discuss what we discussed. Not only the differences in how we approached this race, but the decisions that we made during key parts of the race and the actions that we took. But first, let's get some of the details out of the way. This is about 47 miles for us. It's a lap and a half. And they've combined three categories, the 60 to 64s, the 65 to 69s, and my category, the 70 plus. If you throw out the flat promenade, then this is more like a 44-mile race and about 41 to 4,200 feet of climbing, which approaches my definition of a mountainous course, which is 1,000 feet of climbing per 10 miles. There were 9 in the 60s group, 15 in the 65s, and 7 in the 70s. If you look at the profile in red at the bottom, you'll see that each lap has 2 moderate climbs, and these climbs are actually stair-step together, and that's where I jumped to. We're on that first climb. And then we have the long climb, which is going to be at the last lap, the finishing climb. That climb's around 2.5 miles. At this point, a number of riders have dropped off, and I think most of them are 70s. By the time we get to the top of this first step, we'll be down to 2 70s, myself and Rob Anderson. Where is Rob? He's right behind me in the dark kit. So let's talk about that discussion. The way Rob approached this race is that because I beat him at the Winchester Circuit race 2 months earlier, he was going to follow me and see what I actually had. The way I approached this race was that because I beat him at the Winchester Circuit race 2 months earlier, I was thinking that he was thinking, I can't believe this schmo beat me. I'm going to dust him at districts. Because of my increased form and my new bike, I had all the confidence in the world that I could win this race. That is, until I saw Rob had signed up. My confidence at that point decreased, but did not evaporate. I knew this was going to be a battle. With whatever you see during this video, I'm going to add a little perspective right now. Oh, I'm also going to add some perspective at the end of the race in this 20-second clip, so hopefully you hang around for that. A month ago, Rob was training for nationals, and one day on his TT bike, he was ascending in his drops, a car in the other lane coming toward him, driven by an 81-year-old woman, cut in front of him. He couldn't do anything but hit her. Fortunately, the angle of the car to him was about 45 degrees, and probably because of that, he only sustained soft tissue damage, no broken bones. Broken bike, no broken bones. As you can well imagine, that put a crimp in his training, so no U.S. Nationals this year. While it was Rob's tactic in the beginning to ride on my wheel and see what I had, my tactic was to ride as far as I could toward the front of the group, and if Rob had a weak moment and fell off my wheel and got separated, that I would hang on to the leaders as long as I could, into the flats, into the next climb, to get as much distance as I could, so he would have a longer way to chase. As we get to the top of the first step, we've lost another couple riders. We are now on the second step. If you look at the rear footage camera in the upper right hand corner, you'll see a dark figure in the back. That's Rob. Now, he's back there not because he got dropped on the climb, but because he had a worse time than I did trying to keep up with the leaders on this twisted descent that we just experienced. So all this time, I didn't know that his tactic was to follow me in the beginning. All I know is that I couldn't see him up there, and I'm thinking that, oh, maybe he's dropped. I have no idea. So all I'm thinking about is how can I move up, not only to execute my plan, but to sag climb if I need to. While I was talking on this climb, Rob pretty much has reconnected with the group. All the while, another rider's getting dropped. Let's speed the action up. I'm starting to think, where's the top? And whenever I think something like that, that's never a good sign. As my weight is down to about just under 74 kilograms, which is going to be just under 163 pounds, and that my new bike is about 3.5 pounds lighter than my old bike, I'm probably wishing right now that I was about 5 pounds lighter, and I really can't be 5 pounds lighter. Now, I never turned around, but if I did, I would see that Rob is still connected but is stretched. And now, my rubber band just snapped. This is now a decision point for Rob. He can either go after them and have a chance to get on their wheel, but more than likely what would happen is he'd be on the valley floor between the climbs by himself. He therefore makes the correct decision to stick with me. Jumping ahead a bit, we're now on the valley floor with 60s rider John Ketchum from Body Concepts and from the 65s, Antonio Corgas from Body Concepts. We are chasing with the intent of catching the main peloton. In the beginning, Rob wasn't looking to do any work. He was pretty much just riding my wheel. But once he saw I was working, then he started working. A couple times throughout this video, you'll see me go to a rear camera only shot, like right now. Reason being is that I have bladed handlebars now. They're not round like my old bike was. And I had this Garmin Verb that I was using that was attached to a regular rounded handlebar. I'd experimented on one ride with getting a little bit of styrofoam, some painter's tape, and some duct tape, and installing that camera underneath my current handlebars. And it worked, but it seemed hokey, so I experimented with turning my GoPro, the resolution on it, down to its weakest resolution, and it still shows okay. And it lasts now for 2 hours plus, where on the highest resolution it's lasted for about 40 minutes. Now I knew this race was going to last for over 2 hours, so at key points in the race that would I believe have low action, like going on the valley floor, I would shut off my GoPro. I'd make a note of when I shut it off and for how long I kept it off. And I did this twice, and it seemed to work out. Back to the action on the screen. We are close to the pack, but I'm getting concerned that our speed is dropping because we're on this little climb, and I'm concerned that they're going to take off, so I jump after them. Rob jumps after me, and the others jump as well. I make it up to the pack. I roll up to my buddy Frank and give him the "I made it back" look. I then roll up toward the front to get a little bit of buffer. If you look at the profile at the bottom, you'll see that we're on the main climb. We're actually not on the main climb. We're at the foot of it where it's not as steep, but it's coming soon. You'll get a better idea with the gradient to the right of the profile. I just jumped to the feed zone. Now, if you look at the profile, you see a little notch. So after the climb from the feed zone, we go down a little bit, and then we do that long climb that's going to go to the finish on that last lap. I want to show you that on a 6+% grade, it's going from like 5 to 6 or so. We're hitting 14 miles an hour, which for us old guys is pretty darn fast, and I'm certainly feeling it. Rob is sticking with his plan, and he's right on my wheel. At the moment, I'm sure I'm a tad hypoxic because I'm not even thinking about turning on the GoPro right now. I have no special tactics in mind at the moment. I'm just trying to hang on. And again, we see a couple riders falling off the back. Jumping ahead, you see more riders being popped off the back. We topped out of the feed zone hill, went down a little bit, and now we're well into the main climb. And I finally turned on my GoPro. And now, this is where I lost contact. Now, we started with 31 riders, and there are 13 ahead of me. On this climb, Rob elected not to be on my wheel anymore, and that turned out to be a good idea. Unfortunately for Rob, he's now starting to lose contact. I see this, and I'm not panicking. I want to get up to him, but I want to do it in a steady, methodical way. I mentioned earlier that I got my weight down to 163. Now, Rob Anderson has a typical climber kind of body. He's small in stature, but big in lung and legs. I'm guessing he's somewhere between 140 and 145, so about 20 pounds lighter than I am. He is not making it easy for me. You can see my heart rate in the lower right-hand corner. It's about 153, 154. My maximum is about 163, if that. So I'm at about 93, 94%. Now, I finally make it up to him. Now, at this point, he's got some gas in the tank still. He then gives it a moment, and then puts an acceleration to see how I react. I react by losing contact. It took a lot of bananas to get up to him, and now it looks like I need to rest just a bit so I get some more bananas so I can go after him again. We are getting close to the top. The optimal thing for me to do is to be able to catch him before we get to the top so I can descend with him. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen, even though I'm still giving it a go. I'm still doing what I can, but my heart rate has dropped and my speed has dropped. Still, when he gets to the top, I can still see him, so I'm still in the game. With my being 20 pounds heavier than he, I figure that gives me just a little bit of an advantage on the downhill. So I stick with that same plan. Be steady and methodical in catching him. No panic riding. I finally catch Rob, and we're also joined by 65 rider Michael Krager from Multivello. I looked around, I didn't see any of the numbers up there. Over here. The first time Rob and I got dropped, we didn't know if there were any 70s up ahead of us. And so when we reconnected again, I was looking at the race numbers to see if anyone was in the 70 series. We're both 70. Okay. I didn't look everywhere, but I looked as much as I could.
I think you're right, Steve, yeah.
By letting Michael know that we were in the 70s categories, and also he can judge by our previous wimpy polls that we weren't going to be much help at all. He went to the front, and he stayed there, and he stayed there strongly. Turning your attention for the moment to the red profile at the bottom of the screen, he stayed at the front all the way to the next lap, first moderate climb. And now we jump forward to close to the middle of that first climb. Now I got this thing in my right quads, kind of like fronts toward the outside, where at a sustained higher workload, it starts to fail. And when it starts to fail, other parts of the body try to compensate, and I just have a hard time keeping up with whatever pace was happening at the time. And Michael has been pulling strong enough through the undulations across the valley, and of course this all started with the pace of the climbing already done. With the pacing that Michael was doing, and now on the climbs, he's starting to slow up. When I see Rob right up next to him, put his hand on his back and give him a thanks, I think, uh-oh, I know what's going to happen. At a certain point, I'm not going to be able to keep up the pace because of my leg, and I'll have to slow down significantly. So the question is when. If I make it to the top, then I have a little bit of a respite in terms of just some downhill, and then I'll have, of course, that other climb. And then I'll have to worry about that long climb at the end. It was at this point that Rob is going to give me another test. And the test is that he accelerates and see how I react. I last maybe 10 seconds on his acceleration, and then that's it. I see Michael go after him, and I'm thinking that if he can't make it, then he and I can then work together and then catch him on the flats. But he connects with him, and that's Rob's e-ticket to the finish. This is something like mile 32 or 35. Now, when I had beat Rob at the Winchester Circuit Race, that was a 20-mile race. Obviously, I know I have a ways to go to the finish. All I'm thinking about is I don't want to get caught by another 70, and there's still a lot of time. On the second step moderate climb, I see Antonio coming back up. And he's actually climbing pretty strong. Either that or I'm climbing pretty slow, and that's probably a little bit of both. I'm now starting to feel more positive. We can get over the top and chase the other two down. Apparently that's easier said than done, because once we get on the descent, and it's a very twisty descent, I'm not able to stay up with them. I mean, I got the new bike, I got the disc brakes now, I have 30s on there, but the wild ascending days of my youth are long gone. I'm a lot more cautious now. Once I get on the flats, I'm chasing Antonio, but I never really make up any ground on him. Every rider that comes up behind me, I think, is a 70 plus. Guy comes by, too young. Another guy comes by, it's a dropped P12. It wasn't until about a quarter mile, half mile maybe from the top, that I decided, you know, I'm not going to be caught. This last climb seemed to take forever. When I got to the top and they're all waiting there for me, I still don't know if there was a 70 that was ahead of us. I hope you won. Okay, good. I mean, second for me then. Way to go, Steve. That was a competition that was worthy of us.
Yes, thank you.
I'd say
so. Video on that.
Oh, it'll be a good video.
There's going to be a lot of Robert Anderson in that one.
Yeah, I was on your rear wheel for quite a bit to get the race started, Steve, just to see what was going on.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, my leg went, and at 32 miles?
Is that on the stage hill, on
yeah.
Stage Road there where we went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
that's cool.
You gave him a thank you,
yeah.
And I thought, oh shit. And then he went on, and I tried to say, but then that was it after a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am very impressed with
I was like, okay,
what you're doing.
but the first, I'm like,
oh, thank you very much.
Another guy off
okay,
the
so I'm talking to the winner of the
He
district
looks
road
like
race,
I didn't know anything
and he just gave me some information. So you go ahead.
I've won 3 world championships: mountain biking, time trial, and road race. 3 of them. I think I'm the only masters that's ever won all 3 of
You don't want
those.
to get them
I
wrong.
won 26 national 13 national championships, and this is my 26th district championship.
And I'm a cat 3. Okay, so definitely a good day. Again, definitely a race worthy of us.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Steve. It was a pleasure.